Hello everyone, we are back. So today I'm going to be talking about my deities and how I met them and in the order. Now, granted, at the time when I met my first deity, I was still Christian at the time. And I want to say I kind of already knew when I was younger, because I already read a little bit about the Greek gods and goddesses, and my first deity is Poseidon. Now, you know, some kids get excited when they go to the mountains. I mean, they've got like a lot more parks and everything in Tennessee, but I wasn't really one for that. I still liked going to the ocean. I could have cared less about like the rides and going to the boardwalk and stuff like that. I just wanted to be in the ocean most of the time. I didn't even care for the swimming pools. I've always collected seashells, and some I felt were gifts, just like this one right here. It'll focus. It's called a hagstone. It's meant for protection, warding off evil, everything like that. And it also, you see where the hole is? They say if you look through it, you can see the fae or other spiritual energies. Because I don't do that. Not right now, not until my kids are older. Because I don't want anything bad around my kids right now. But I'd always find like unique seashells. And I always felt so comfortable and relaxed every time I went. And even now when I go, I still feel more relaxed and calm just having my feet in the water or even being in the water. And like I said, I felt like I always knew since I was little, but it wasn't until about a few years ago. And if you watch my TikTok, I actually did a video of it where, now I live about 3 hours away from the sea. I would just start tasting salt water, and then I would have dreams of the ocean, all the sea creatures, the corals, everything. And I believe that was just his sign of saying that he is here and he's watching, making sure I'm okay. Now, the next one, like I said, I kind of think they were right around the same time. The Morgan. I believe she's watched over, and I also believe she's punished a lot of people that used to bully me, and let's just say bully. And now, years later, because let's see, it was like the second or third grade when I started noticing a lot of crows and seeing ravens just about everywhere I went. Now, when the bullying happened, it got to the point where I would see a crow or a raven those days. And that made me feel like that was a sign of her saying that she's watching over me and is going to take care of everything, not to worry about it. So like even now, I have found out from a lot of the people that I went to school with, they are either on the run, in prison, have had a lot of kids and are either going through a stressful situation or have the kids taken by the state, homeless, jobless. I mean, the worst things that could happen. And I don't really want to say I'm grateful for that, but I wish they could have felt the way they made me feel. And sadly, the next god that comes into play, with all the bullying that was happening, I was a little bit suicidal when I was younger. I did try to kill myself a lot of times. but it couldn't really do it. And that's where Hades comes into play. I believe that every time when I felt like I was that close, he would stop me and basically tell me that I had a purpose. And I'm hoping that's me sharing my experiences and telling you my stories will also help you too. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful that they claimed me and have helped me out through my life. Now, the next goddess that comes into play is Lady Themis. And a lot of people don't know her by that name, but they know her by Lady Justice. The statue that has the blindfold with the scales and the sword in the other hand. Now she did not claim me. I actually asked to work with her. And the reason being is because, and this is kind of bad to say, when I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I wanted to be in law. But I knew I wouldn't have the smarts to be a lawyer. And I've always been a big girl. So I knew there was no way I could get into the police academy and pass the physical exam. So I started looking into other fields. And I thought about becoming a bounty hunter. But after I had my first son and realizing I don't want to get shot or anything like that, my mom told me that maybe I needed to become a private investigator. Which, that's what I did. I got online. I started looking up how I could do it, and then I found this school called Ashworth College, and they offer courses. Now, they're not field courses unless you want to count like the final exam, where I had to pretend that my house was burnt down, and I got to figure out if it was on purpose for insurance, like insurance fraud, or if it was by accident. So I had to go to the courthouse, I had to go to the treasurer. I mean, the list goes on through all the different steps, had to mark the times, the dates, everything like that. But when I was taking the courses online, it took me about 2 years. 2017 is when I graduated and I got my certificate. Now, certificate, I guess, would count also as a degree. But it's kind of weird because some of the PIs I've talked to hasn't even heard of that. So I don't know if that was something new that they were doing or what. But I've been going to conferences and talking to other PIs. But back to Lady Themis. When I had first started, it was from the first book that I got that I received in the mail. I started looking for different goddesses to see if she'd be willing to work with me. And I opened my circle, I gave my offerings, and here's how I know how she accepted. On the Irish side of the family, we don't know much of those people. After certain family members had passed away, we lost all contact. Well, when I was talking to my papa, which in the South, that's the grandfather, when I was talking to him about like a cold case that had happened in the town that I lived in, which you can't even find any kind of documentation on this case. But it happened in Edgemoor. A gentleman was hit in the back of the head with a blunt object and was killed in his grocery store slash gas station. That's what it was at the time. And when me and my papa were talking about it, I was able to get a little bit more information, and then I was able to look into Ancestry, well, Ancestrycom, and looked into his history. Now, when I did that, I found the newspaper clipping. And this is where I believe she says that she's willing to help. In the newspaper clipping, it said officer, and the last name, I don't want to give out my last name. Well, you know, I'm married now. But give out that name. And I asked my mom and them about it, and they said, well, yes, there are people with that last name that still live out in Chester where I'm living now. But I have no way of getting in contact with them. The sheriff has retired. I mean, because that was about, let's see, that was in the 50s. I think it was 52, 53 when that happened. So I know he's got to be retired, but I'm just grateful she was able to basically say, hey, here's a relative of yours. I want to ask, but I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know how people would take it. You know, that whole deal. Anyways, that's how I knew she had accepted and was willing to help me. Also, when I first started going to the conferences, I noticed that they use the same symbols that are hers. They have the scale with the sword going right through it, which I believed was another sign. So keep your fingers crossed that hopefully I'll be able to do that, because what I'm wanting to do in my life, and I'm gonna have my deities with me, I will be asking for their help in all the situations that I go through. But my main goal is to get to the point where I can work cold cases. And I know that's when I'm really, really gonna need Lady Themis' help. But that's my little backstory, and that's how I met them, and a little bit on how they've helped me and everything like that. Now the other thing with Hades, I would have like dreams, not so much of the underworld, but like of the dead, if that makes sense. Like I just had one the other night where I was going through this old house and there was spirits in the home. I believe that was one of his signs trying to tell me that some good things are gonna happen. I mean, he is a wise God. And you don't ever want to disrespect. You want to listen to them and go by what they say. Which, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to find it because it's an older video. But he did give me a sign one day. And in that video, I was showing where there was a dead lizard on my living room floor. And then I think it was like a week or so later, fortunately one of our tires blew, and thankfully a nice couple had stopped and helped us, and then they gave us $100 bill. And then like a few minutes later we found out that we were approved for I think it was like a $600 loan to get the tire replaced and everything like that. So he helped us out a lot. I'm grateful that he said something, because at the time I was really nervous because I didn't think I was going to be able to go to that conference at that time. But with him basically giving me a sign, I don't really care for dead animals. I'm okay with the dreams, but the dead animals are a different thing. But with him basically doing that, that helped kept me calm. Because I do tend to not overly react, but I get heavily upset with things like that. So with him giving me that sign, that reassured me that everything was going to be okay. So I hope y'all enjoyed my story. I hope what I tell you will help you. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. And I will see y'all next time. Bye, you guys.